Could we all stand?
Oh, yeah.
And now I would like you to sit down if you have said thank you to every person who is deserving of it. Only sit if you've said thank you to everyone. Could you all sit? As you can observe, each and every one of us are guilty of simply not saying 2 words. Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, are there any guests here today?
No.
Fellow Toastmasters.
I feel like a guest, but
Fellow Toastmasters, for over 15 years, I have wanted to do something really special for my sister Beverly, but I haven't. Several years have passed since I received that really devastating telephone call that my sister had suffered a cardiac incident and she was in Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in New York. That was my first scare. There were hours and hours of waiting. We had conversations with Dr. Oz to determine her outcome, and we were made aware that surgery could be fatal. That was just the first of many scares, but I always believed that my 5'11", strong, statuesque, intelligent sister would always be there, and I'd be able to say, thank you. I would like to give you a few insights of her character, and then I would like to recite a poem that I believe captures her essence. My first retrospective is actually in the late 1950s. My New York City family packed up the station wagon and we took a trip to South Carolina. It was my parents, my 5 brothers, my oldest sister, who by the way is 10 years older than I, were all present and accounted for. We boarded the ferry, the car was placed on the platform, and we proceeded to have a long, arduous journey down the Chesapeake Bay. But as the day went on, I remember running across the deck. I was out of breath. Beverly, there's a sign on the ladies' room. It says, whites only. I couldn't even get any water from the water fountain. It said, only whites could drink from the water fountain. And then she had the look. All the women of my family were known to have lovingly a look called the Dolores, aptly after my mother. And my sister at that moment had that look. So she took my hand and she led me to the ladies' room, and I quickly ran in. But then I turned around, and all I could see was a strong, thin frame standing at the ladies' room with her hands across her chest, kind of like a warrior standing guard. And then I believed I, at that moment, became a warrior in training. Then she took me by my hand and she led me by the water fountain, at which time she stood on guard, still hands across her chest. All of this could have turned out very differently, but that is another story, isn't it? So that's my first. My second retrospective is in the late 1950s, early 60s, in a shared bedroom that was very dark with 4 candles lit in either corners of the room. And my sister would be sitting there Indian style on the bed with a black turtleneck and her black pants, sometimes clipping of the fingers and her eyes closed. And all I would see is just her sitting there, sometimes reciting out loud, reading books, poetry, listening to music. In my closet, There weren't many clothes, but there were books and poetry. Poetry from Nikki Giovanni, Maya Angelou, James Baldwin, and music from Miles Davis or Ellington. And then sometimes she'd scare me because she'd sit on that bed, Indian style, with her eyes closed and start reading. When Lord gave Noah the rainbow sign, the Lord said, no more rain, fire next time. I was scared to death. Fire? That was my sister. And then I realized the third and most important remembrance is the strength of my sister. The strength to know that she was the first woman that I knew to receive her bachelor's with honors. And I knew it was hard because she would talk to my mother late at night in the kitchen. But that was okay. I knew anything she started, she completed. And now I would like to give you what you need to know. Fellow Toastmasters, don't wait to let the one you love know how much you care for them. Tell them now. Beverly? Bev?
Yeah, I'm here.
I just wanted to say thank you, love you.
Okay. Love you.
Bye-bye.